Hello, musings with Wolfingtons, yeah. How's it going? Hope you're very well. Welcome to part 2 of how I found peace in my life. And we're just gonna get straight back into it. So prepare your mind for this. So I get off the bus in Brisbane. See this Italian dude I used to live with, yeah, in freaking Byron Bay. Sorry, I'm being a weird wolf. Anyway, so I'm there and I meet this guy, this cool Italian guy, just so randomly, walks past. And he's like, "What are you doing tonight?" After we're both really surprised we bump into each other. He's like, "What are you doing tonight? We should walk around and go to jazz and blues bars." I've never been to jazz and blues bars before, but I'm like, okay, I'll do that with you. And then we go on all these walks, and he's talking about what he wants to do while he's in Australia. And he's saying like, "Oh yeah, I fancy going joining like a hippie commune." And I was like, "Whoa, that's a good idea." Like in my head, I was like, "That's really cool." And it stuck with me out of everything we talked about. You know, the sound of like living off the land, no like financial stresses, the sun of Australia, um, chilling in a hammock. Sounded pretty good to me. I'd worked in the opposite of that environment, cold, wet, hard work, indoors all the time, and I hated it. So I was like, yeah, this sounds pretty cool. So I went to the library in Brisbane and I Googled like community near me or something like that. Found one, messaged them, ended up going, and he was like, I told him next time I saw him, I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to one of those community things you talked about." He was like, "What? Really? You're gonna go do that?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not? Like, I'm all open for new experiences and things." So I went there, and it was really cool. Living off the land, and there's a big lake and stuff to hang out in, and lots of cool people. But I was sharing a room with this fella, and he had massive dreadlocks, like down to like past his waist. And every morning he'd wake up and he'd just be like sat like our beds were like this, like if I wanted I could have shuffled my feet down and had a bit of footsie going on. Wow. And yeah, so me and this fella was just sharing this room, and every morning he'd wake up and he'd be meditating at me. Not at me, but he'd be sat meditating. And he had these massive dreads, and he kind of looked like Predator when the light was coming in from like dawn. Just this silhouette of all these dreads. And I'd wake up and I'd be stirring for ages, waiting to get up anyway. And then I look down and see this person meditate, and I was like, I might as well join him. Haven't sat meditated. It's kind of like a meditation poser. I wanted to be into it for no other reason. I don't really I just wanted the benefits. I didn't want to be like a new age hippie. It wasn't like my ego, like I wanted to appear a certain way. I just wanted to be happier. So I started meditating with this fella because he seemed happy and chill and non-reactive to people's stuff they throw on him. They get angry at him and he's just like, whoosh, and he's just like not even holding on to it anymore. And I was like, I want to be like that. So yeah, I just started meditating with him. Eventually, I found out the particular meditation he does, and it was this thing by it's called Vipassana. They have centers all around the world, even though Vipassana isn't these centers, but the centers are set up by the Vipassana organization, and the guy's called Goenka. So I booked onto one of them courses, and yeah, I was spending a lot of time meditating, meditation, living in nature, trying to be present, just trying to be in my body. You know, I wake up and rather than just listening to the internal monologue of you're this, you're that, just like, okay, I'm digging, and all I'm feeling is my fists, my hands gripping the spade, and I'm digging, and I'm feeling my breath as I'm doing it, and being present, being kind, getting lots of fresh air in nature, and also doing one of these courses, which I still do now. I still practice the same practice. It's just a term. Well, I won't go into it actually. If you want to do one, I've mentioned what it is. I'm not going to waffle on about that. I'm just saying what made me have a more peaceful mind. Meditation, eating healthy, living in nature, trying to do kind and compassionate things for people while I was on this community. You know, I was trying to think about myself less. There's this thing about like the ego, and it's like, oh, we don't have, like get rid of your ego, and then it's just, I don't think you get rid of your ego. I think you just dissolve it. These enlightened people like the Buddha, I don't think they forgot who they were. They know who they are. They haven't got rid of the ego. They've just dissolved it. They can just like think about others more and not just be completely self-absorbed with their own narcissistic stuff that on the grand scheme of things it doesn't matter. Being in nature helps with this because you don't have that constant stimulation and like ego-centered, advertisement, posters, films these days, right? Sorry, I need to relax. But it's all about dude takes his shirt off, gets women, beats dudes up, and like it's all about like I-centered. This is why I really like Lord of the Rings films like this, because it's like a group of individuals doing something bigger than themselves rather than just a proper like ego rub film. Puts a bad message out to the kids. Think of the children. Anyway, so yeah, these things really helped. And I was living on this community. I did one of those courses, and that was a long time ago, and I'm a completely different person to then. In a good way, in a really good way. I'm a very normal person. I just do normal stuff, live normally, meditate, look after my family, and these things really helped with that. Yeah. I think nature is just, it teaches you so much, but it's like, I could tell you, like, intellectually how I've changed, but what would be the point? I think you just got to go out and do it for yourself. Spend a lot of time in nature, very little time on screens and all that. Meditate. Meditate's such a vague term. I mean specifically meditation, which brings you into your body and your breath, particularly Vipassana meditation. But you don't, I'm sure there's loads of Vipassanas. You don't have to do the same one I did, but I'd recommend the one I did, to be honest. It's really good. Yeah, this is how I, using Wolf, found more peace in my life. Peace and love, in the words of Ringo Starr. I'm sure he copied them from someone else. But yeah, that's my part 2. I feel like that went far too quickly. Maybe I should talk about something else, about that community, even on the hippie commune, as some would call it. I just call it a intentional community because we're not in the 1960s. So, but yeah, full of really interesting people, like all ages, a lot of much older people, in their 60s and that, and then a lot of young people as well. Really cool. Right. I think that's it. So yeah, a recap. I have more peace in my life. Summed up easy. Spending loads of time in nature, or if not in nature, doing very simple mindful activities like cooking. No music, just cooking. You can just feel your body as you're chopping things. Just mindfulness, really be aware of what you're doing. Taking time out of the day to actually sit down and meditate, not just try and make everything meditative, but take your time out to do that. Doing one of these courses really helped, and life-changing actually. And yeah, just trying to help human society in not be so self-absorbed. Right, that's me. Musings with Wolf. Hope you're very well. I still haven't sorted out my microphone, but if you understood my circumstances, you'd see why. All right, peace. Peace out, man.